South Africa could get its first woman Chief Justice. President Cyril Ramaphosa has nominated Justice Mandisa Maya to replace Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, whose term ends in August. Consultations will take place with the political parties in Parliament and the Judicial Service Commission. Maya currently holds the position of a Deputy Chief Justice and previously served as the Supreme Court of Appeals President. She also is the first woman to serve in her current role. For more reaction on what this possible appointment would mean to women within the legal fraternity, we are now joined by attorney Abigail Ngobene. Abigail, good morning. Thank you so much for making time for us. Mandisa Maya, a woman of many firsts. The first Supreme Court of Appeal President as a woman, the first Deputy Chief Justice of the country as a woman, and possibly the next Chief Justice of the country who is a woman. What do you make of the accolades that she's received so far?
Thank you very much, Adrian, and I greet you and all the viewers of the Newzroom Afrika, and I really appreciate the time that we have. Well, if one was to say much about the Deputy Chief Justice Mandisa Maya, we will all be celebrating all her achievements, all her tracks in the legal as well as the judiciary itself, and we really celebrate the nomination of Mandisa Maya as the next Chief Justice of the Republic of South Africa. Such a move shows the country and all women legal practitioners that the President and the Executive are alive to the issues of women empowerment, to the transformation of the judiciary, and to the provision of the Constitution in Section 174(2), which says that the need for the judiciary to reflect broadly the racial and gender composition when the appointments of judicial officers are done. So we really commemorate this, we celebrate this. It's a huge milestone in the judiciary and the legal fraternity at large.
Yeah, a huge milestone, also considering the aspect around the transformation. That on one end, there are complaints that you don't find a lot of black counsel being briefed. But then you speak about the plight of women. So you have this thing that where black counsel is not being briefed as compared to their white counterparts. But then also when we look at women counsels not being briefed, and more specifically black women counsels. And I wonder though whether this appointment means that we could see a change when it comes to that particular aspect around who gets to be briefed.
Yes, I think we will see, Adrian, a lot of changes with her appointment at the helm or the highest position of the judiciary. Remember that when we look at her track as the first black woman to be the president of the Supreme Court of Appeal, during her term of office, there are a lot of black women who ascended the bench in the Supreme Court of Appeal. When I watched her interview for the current position, she seemed to be very keen in what we call a skills transfer. When she was asked to say, there are a lot of white acting judges who have been brought to come and act in the Supreme Court of Appeal. What is your take in that? And she was keen to say she is gonna be focusing on the skills transfer. Remember that our white counterparts were privileged to have such scarce skills which are needed in the legal fraternity. And she said, we will bring them mainly to transfer these skills to the historically disadvantaged women of our country, to at least be privy to the issues that we seem to be areas that seem to be highly occupied by white male counterpart, and we will see a lot of women occupying such space, gaining such skills, transferring that. And some of the remarkable words that she said when she was being interviewed, she said she longed for a time where the highest sitting judge will be in one room with the youngest female presiding officer in the small claims court to transfer knowledge, transfer skills, equip each other. And we believe that such a nomination, if at all, at the end of the consultative process, it becomes a final appointment, we'll see a huge change in briefing patterns, as well as not necessarily that the judiciary will be involved in the briefing patterns of black attorneys, but we're saying such a model before us it's an indication that the country is transforming. The country, particularly the judiciary and the legal fraternity, is transforming for the best. You'll remember that last year we were commemorating 100 years of women in the legal fraternity. And it has taken us so long to have a female black Chief Justice ascending that position. And I think this is a huge step to be celebrated by all of us in the legal fraternity.
What do you say to some people who feel and look at this and say, it's just another quota appointment? And I would just want to go back again to what Justice Mandisa said when she was being interviewed for the position of Chief Justice back in 2022. She said, I'm not good because I'm a woman, I'm just a good woman judge.
Yes. You see, that is a very powerful statement. That should say to all of us that we don't necessarily celebrate her appointment as a woman, but we celebrate her capacity to represent all of us, to say if we can have a person in the form of Justice Mandisa Maya ascending such a highest post in the judiciary, it says to a girl in Guyana, it says to a youngest female legal practitioner, Kwanongoma, who is aspiring to be in the bench, to say the sky is not even the limit. There is a room for women in the legal fraternity. There is a room for women in the judiciary. And when women are there, we then look at the deeper sense of strength and capability to be able to compete equally, not because we are women, but because we are able to do beyond what the gender can bar and dictate to us.
So this morning also, Abigail, we're running a poll asking our viewers what their sentiments are with regards to this nomination by the President of Justice Mandisa. And we have three options there. She deserves it, advertise the post, or more of the same. And the overwhelming majority so far of the people that have participated in this poll, 61%, saying that she deserves it. What does that tell us about this nomination?
Avril, I'll take you back to the recommendations of the Judicial Service Commission when the interviews were done. It's a public knowledge that she was the preferred candidate. And that will tell you of the caliber of a person she is. I join the millions of South Africans. I join the people and the polls to say she really deserves it. Actually, her appointment was supposed to have been done as soon as yesterday.
Thank you so much, Abigail Ngobene. There is a female attorney as well, celebrating the nomination of Justice Mandisa Maya to become the next Chief Justice of the country. But of course, there's still going to be the consultation with the JSE as well as the various political parties represented in Parliament.